Okay, we got this show started. First, welcome for Chris, our newest councillor for Ward 5. Congratulations and welcome to their outfit, I guess, want of a better word. And first off, we're going to have a presentation by Gemtech, so we're going to let them go ahead and we'll pay close attention.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, everyone. Today we're going to introduce ourselves, Gemtech. We're providing creative, resilient, and effective solutions. First, let me start introducing ourselves. My name is Jihad Alzheimer. I'm the Municipal and Asset Management Lead, and I have 13 years of municipal experience working with the City of Fredericton in the purchasing management space, financial services, and customer service. I'm accompanied today with Hans Aritz. Hans is our Manager of Water Resources Department. Next to Hans is Chris McPherson. Chris is a Senior Municipal Advisor with Gemtech. He's a retired CEO with 45 years of municipal experience, 20 of which in the CEO's office of the City of Fredericton. And we also have Murray Jamer. Murray is also over 32 years of experience in the municipal sector. Started at the City of St. John, Director of Public Works and the Utility. Then he was the city engineer for the City of Fredericton. He also finished his career as a deputy CEO for the City of Fredericton as well. And that's about the four of us who are here. A little bit about Gemtech. It was established in 1986. We're at over 375 employees to date, and we're growing at a rate of 15% extra staff a year. And we are very, very proud to be 100% employee owned, and we have PhD level expertise on staff in various scientific sectors as well. We have 13 locations stretching between St. John, Newfoundland, all the way to Mississauga, Ontario, and our home base, our main office, our headquarters is right here in Hanwell, New Brunswick, 124 Greenview Drive. So we're very proud of that. And we have a lot of presence in New Brunswick, 5 offices in New Brunswick here. In terms of our services, we have the various disciplines of the engineering services, mostly basically everything from civil and municipal engineering, materials testing, geotechnical, structural, hydrology, water resources, and transportation. We also have a big environmental department as well. We do hydrogeology, contaminated sites, biology, and permitting, environmental impact assessment, and even WAWA permits as well. And what's unique about Gemtech, we have the municipal and asset management unit, which obviously does asset management planning, strategic planning, and operational reviews, and feasibility studies, and a much longer list. We're going to get into more details about our unit later on in the slide. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Hans to elaborate more on the engineering disciplines.
Thank you, Jihad, Your Worship, members of Council. So Gemtech, in essence, we're a full-service engineering company other than mechanical, electrical, and nuclear. So anything other than those 3 things, and we have relationships with a number of specialty sub-consultants that we use on a regular basis. Everything else we have in-house, right? So some of the things that Hanwell may be interested in, I'll touch on those. I won't read the stuff we do on the screen there, but you know, water treatment and distribution. So we built water treatment plants and distribution systems, wastewater collection systems, so sanitary sewers and wastewater treatment plants, lagoons, treatment wetlands, etc. We do as well. Municipal road design, so road cross sections, ditching, you know, we've designed large sections of the Trans-Canada Highway, you know, down to subdivision roads, etc. So, you know, any scale. And then subdivision design and layout, fully serviced or well and septic, etc. You know, we do a lot of that as well. We've got a whole division that looks after that, right? So. materials testing and field services in New Brunswick. All 5 of our offices have CILL certified testing laboratories. So we test concrete, soils and asphalt. We are the largest materials testing company in Atlantic Canada. All 7 offices in Atlantic Canada have fully certified labs. Right? So, and we do a lot of the testing for a lot of other consulting engineering companies. Right? The largest lab in the company is 124 Greenview Drive, in Hanwell right here. Right? So the nuclear densometers, so compaction testing, testing for foundations, asphalt testing, concrete testing, you name it, we do it. It's a one-stop shop, all in-house. Geotechnical services, that's one of the original core services of Gemtech, so foundation designs, settlement analysis, embankments, anything that's dirty, we have PhD level expertise in that. So we are one of the go-to consultants for MB Power on dam assessments and refurbishments. We are doing the foundation for the new Justice Building downtown. We have a database of all the investigations that Gemtech has done over since '86, I guess.
37 years.
37 years of materials testing. A database, so basically you give us a PID, we'll punch it into our GIS and say, oh geez, we did test pits next door and boreholes 2 lots over, etc. So even without doing any detailed site investigation, we got so much historic knowledge, we can give you a pretty good feel for what you're going to be looking at. Right? So that as well, right? Environmental services, Gia had mentioned, probably the biggest one of interest to Hanwell potentially is hydrogeology. So we have hydrogeologists on staff, so if you're looking to provide large production, high yield groundwater wells, that's their stick, right? So again, based on historic information, they get a pretty good feel as to where the high yield areas are, etc., and then would have the expertise to investigate that in detail, find wells, develop them, and then basically make them suitable for water treatment and high yield delivery. Right? The other thing that group does is environmental site assessment, so any contaminated site type work, they can quantify the problem, come up with a plan to remediate it, and basically fix those properties. And then the other thing would be regulatory compliance, etc. So we have 2 former directors from the Department of Environment at the New Brunswick Department of Environment that were in charge of the Environmental Impact Assessment branch, etc. Now members of Gemtech, so we are well connected, intimately familiar with all the ins and outs of any kind of permitting that's required on the environmental regulatory side. Water resources, that's the group that I run. To put that in a nutshell, if it's wet, we should theoretically have some insight, so it can be either above ground, below ground, fresh water, salt water. We are one of 2 companies in Eastern Canada with coastal engineering and modeling capabilities. I don't think that's a service that Hanwell would be interested in at the top of the list, but
When we expand for
Yes. Maybe not mention we're taking over the world.
Right, okay, good, yeah. Careful how much area you pick up all at once, right? So it comes with liabilities as well. So anyway, my group, flood assessments. We help the city of Fredericton with their flood risk assessment. We help them secure DMIF funding, so there's going to be a number of announcements here in the next few years where we're going to get some flood protection dikes, that are built in Fredericton. We did the same thing for the city of St. John. We're going to raise the Courtney Bay Causeway, etc. The other thing, stormwater management and drainage assessments. With climate change, we're seeing higher intensity, more severe storms. That's causing flooding in areas that historically have not had those problems. So we've got 2 3-dimensional computer models where we can model when the bus is going to come off the road, etc., and come up with solutions to deal with that. Right? So, surface water availability studies. So we're looking at, if you have a lake for water supply, we can split the atom on that for you as to what the risk is of running out of water in any given scenario. Right? And then climate change risk assessments. I was one of a number of engineers involved in the development of the PIVC protocol, the assessment protocol, which is now the de facto tool used by the federal government to do climate change risk assessments. We do a lot of those, those tend to help funding applications for municipalities. They're going to say, listen, we want to come up with some adaptive work, so we're working with City of Fredericton, City of St. John, Town of Sussex, etc. to do those kind of things. Right? So anyway, enough about that. Structural and marine engineering. Structural engineering, we probably have the largest structural engineering department in Atlantic Canada. Gemtech acquired Valra out of Moncton a number of years ago, so they were the designers on the Performing Arts Center in Fredericton, the new Justice Building, etc. They are one of the go-to consultants for MBDTI for bridge design, bridge rehabilitation, so any kind of structure, we have lots of insight into that. One of the subspecialties that we have is marine services, so we do a lot of docks and wharfs and coastal infrastructure as well. Right? Transportation engineering, as I mentioned, Gemtech designed large stretches of the Trans-Canada Highway. We have a number of folks with PhDs in asphalt design and pavement design, etc. With the high prices of oil, the refiners now squeezing every last drop of fuel out of the bituminous tar mix, and then the residue is used to make asphalt. That now is less flexible and it doesn't last nearly as long. Thank you, by the way, for repaving Greenview Drive. That's a massive improvement and much smoother drive. However, the design that has worked well in the past now needs to be tweaked to minimize the overall life cycle cost. So we have a fairly large team spread between Ottawa and Fredericton that can really get into that. Right? So. Okay, then municipal and asset management. I have done some work in the past, but that's Gia's specialty and the other two gentlemen. So I'll sit down and let them shed light on that. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Hans. So yeah, back to excitement. Municipal and asset management. As Hans elaborated, we have the engineering depth to design and project manage the projects. But we felt that a lot of communities need some help before the project comes to fruition in the background. So yes, we can do things right, but what about doing the right thing? Like doing some feasibility studies, location, capacity, how big, etc. So for that purpose, we hired a group of folks with a really deep knowledge in the municipal sector. Chris and Murray are here. We also have Jeff Trail. He was the CEO for the City of St. John and the Deputy CEO here in Fredericton as well. We have David Knowles. He was Public Works head in Riverview and Dieppe. We also have specialists in fleet management, Garth Trail. So we have a deep bench of folks with real hands-on municipal experience. So we help council with strategic planning, which then translates into operational plans for staff, and we help staff identify some gaps and address some efficiencies within the org chart. We conduct a lot of feasibility studies and cost, benefit, and risk analysis. Obviously, we help with asset management planning to sustain the services you offer and sustain the assets that you have to deliver those services, and we tie this with a long-term financial plan for recapitalization. If you have a water and sewer utility, we can help establish the rates, and we also work with the municipalities to pathfind for funding and help you with the funding application, which a lot of times, especially the federal funding, is a little complicated. It requires some pre-design work and some Class D, almost a cost estimation and conceptual designs. We also do coaching and mentoring for senior municipal staff and much more. Basically anything you can think about within the municipal house that you need help with, whatever it is, we definitely have seen that play in one shape or form. Some of our projects. By the way, we established this unit 2 years ago, and November 1st will be a little shy than 2 years now. So these are some of the projects we've worked on in the past 2 years. In terms of strategic planning, we did the one for the Union of Municipalities in New Brunswick. We also did the strategic plan for Southwest New Brunswick Regional Service Commission, St. Stephen Utility and Public Works Department, Oromocto Engineering and Public Works Department strategic plan, Fredericton Solid Waste Management Unit strategic plan, Butternut Valley, which is Havelock, it's a new entity. We did their strategic plan and a lot more work there. The rural community of Alnwick as well. It's a new entity. We did the strategic plan. Did a bunch of operational effectiveness reviews. We did one for the city of Miramichi, the town of Oromocto, the town of Grand Bay Westfield. For Grand Bay Westfield, we did a unique one where they moved winter maintenance services in-house. It was subcontracted out, so we did a feasibility study to bring that service in-house with a depot and staffing and equipment and everything else. So this was a big study there. We're doing an operational effectiveness review with the Grand Lake, which is Minto Chipman, bringing the two entities kind of now are under one roof. And we did a feasibility study on the municipal solid waste and organics collection for the Regional Service Commission of Fundy. In terms of coaching and mentoring for senior municipal staff, Murray and Chris here work with the rural municipality of Wood Buffalo in Alberta, the town of Oromocto, Revelstoke, British Columbia, Dollard des Ormeaux, Quebec City, and Chris and Murray also are the facilitators for the CAMA Executive Leadership course. CAMA is the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, which Chris was a president for a long time, and he's a lifelong honorary member in that association, and the other folks are also active members in this association, and with AMAMB, Associated Municipal Administrators of New Brunswick, and with other international associations, ICA, ICMA, International
City Manager Association.
City Managers
US.
Association. Yeah. So I can talk forever, and I won't do these folks justice in terms of what they've accomplished and worked on, or what they're currently working on. But I would like to turn it over to them, and maybe you can hear with council some of your experience and what you've been working on, Rick.
Your worship in council. So look, Jihad just asked that I prepare some thoughts about what I see out there and what some of the issues are. And maybe it would surprise you, maybe it wouldn't, but the issues are very similar whether you're talking about fairly large municipalities or whether you're talking about small municipalities. So we see the same sorts of issues. So what are some of the issues we see? Certainly asset management. Elected officials, staff are becoming way more aware of asset management these days, and it's not just the cost of the capital asset, but now they're looking at so we've got the asset, and what does that asset cost us in terms of life cycle costs, and what do we have to look at for replacement costs. So there's a recognition that asset management is more than just the capital cost. And of course that goes in line with a lot of municipalities, probably not this one, but a lot of municipalities are looking at an issue of aging infrastructure. Some of the other things that people want to talk to us about is the efficiency of their service provision. So we've done organizational reviews, and like with our expertise, we're able to say maybe if you combine these work units together, you might have a more efficient organization. And also part of that is just making council, mayor and council aware of what level of service they want to provide, because that is within your purview, and there's costs associated with that. Some of the other things are, does council have is there a consensus on council about what they want to achieve in their mandate, or is, everybody going in a different direction? And so that's one of the things that we worked on, and G had mentioned strategic planning. And there's also a balance of, you have to balance the existing services that you provide with perhaps, new services that you would like to provide in the future. Another thing another issue that comes up a lot is long-term financial plan. And so we talk to municipalities about, well, the basis for this is your asset management plan, your strategic plan, and any master plan that you may have. What do we want to do with our recreation in the long term? So all these come together, and a lot of municipalities are now saying it's not enough to have this year's budget or next year's budget. We want to have a long-term financial plan about where we're going in the future. G had mentioned in-house services versus contracted services, and particularly for a new municipality like this. Hanwell's been here for a while, but now an expanded municipality. That's something that you'll want to look at very closely, I would think. And one of the other things, I'm not sure G had mentioned it, but water and sewer rates. And water and sewer rates are a big issue now, because quite often the rates that are in place support the infrastructure or support the operation, but they really don't support the replacement of the infrastructure that's necessary. So I think Chris wants to talk next, and we'll be around for questions, but those are some of the issues that we're dealing with.
Thanks, Mayor. Your Worship, with your indulgence, just a direct question to Mr. Fox. You at the CUNY Foundation?
I was.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I'm scared now because it's probably so small, this area, that you think you know somebody, but you haven't seen them for a while, and we're all getting older, but...
That's me, yeah, I'm not the mayor of Nakaway.
That's the other Tim Fox.
Well, as you know, I was involved with the foundation for a number of years, and
Absolutely.
anyway, it was good to see you
Yeah,
here.
good to
It's always
see you
nice to
too.
see a familiar face. So I'm the only non-engineer, and I couldn't understand why they would want me to be part of this group, because
It's because of that.
see, that's when I glazed over when they were going through all that stuff. But I know it was important as a community that things are well looked after, and I always trusted the engineers, and I had good people like Murray and Jihad to do that. And so having a well-run organization, obviously, you're looking after everything you have, and you have the right people. So why am I here? I can even say, as a good New Brunswicker, I had a moose license 2 weeks ago and didn't get a moose. So I'm not even a good moose hunter. I tell everyone I'm a conservationist. And so I'm here to talk to you a little bit because of some of the experiences I've had. And as you had mentioned, I've just finished a term as Vice President of ICMA. ICMA is based in Washington, and it's the U.S. City Manager Association. We have 15,000 members. And those 3 years gave me a good opportunity to see what U.S. cities are dealing with compared to some Canadian cities. Same things, but I would say more intense. Everything seems to be along party lines, Republicans, Democrats. And it's funny, when you're in Canada, you can talk about things like climate change, you can talk about discrimination and racism. You have to be very careful when you talk about those things in the US. They deal with things that we would never see, I hope. And I hope they say those trends are coming to Canada, I guess we'll see. But for city councils or town councils and administrators, it's a tough job. It's tough enough here in little old New Brunswick, but in those communities in the US, and I often say this when I meet with councils, I mean, I give you credit for doing this because it's not like you're making a lot of money, you're not getting a lot of kudos, you're just trying to make your community better. And it's so easy nowadays to criticize people that are in power through social media. And I relate some of the experiences that I've had, and I have 3 classes, I call them, they're called masterminds. And I volunteer, and we have 15 city managers in each group. We meet once a month virtually for an hour and a half. And it's a support network for those city managers. And I've got all sizes of cities, I have big cities, I have little towns, villages. and because they're getting tortured, and they need someone to talk to, and they need help understanding how to deal with issues. And, you know, the councils have their own things to deal with, and the administrators have another set of issues. And so I would say the most successful communities I've seen are the ones where councils have got together, that they have a strategic plan, so the CAO can look at what you want to accomplish in your time here, and develop operational plans to make sure that gets done, and report back to you regularly, how are we making out. Those are the ones that we all got each other's back. And I used to coach a lot of sports, and that was the analogy I use. Your hockey team, you have everyone's back. You support each other. So, and that's just not for you, that's for every community I go to. I say the same thing. You guys are gonna be together, and then we're gonna achieve some things here. And I write notes, I never follow them, so just let me see where I was. I did want to talk a little bit just about some of the issues I saw. Yes, in the Canadian context, I won't talk with the US. Social issues, if you don't have rough, like you're seeing in Fredericton, if you don't have it yet, you may. Rough sleeping and people living homeless, that is now creeping into even the smaller communities that we're dealing with, they're now faced with it, and they don't know how to deal with it. And the province, you know, no offense if you work for the province, they seem to leave us out to do our own thing. In terms financially and some of the downloading that is now put on some municipalities, and maybe you faced it now probably at the roads. You know, they doesn't give you enough money, or they're just not kept up. Public safety, policing is an issue, especially around New Brunswick and in smaller communities. I think it's a real problem, because drugs are everywhere now. Financial issues, you want to keep your tax rate low, but you want to do other things. You want to, you know, people want recreation, they want amenities, and it costs money. And so, you know, your interactions with other levels of government in terms of acquiring funds for your projects, and it's a lobby, it's a competition. And you gotta have your MLA on board and your MP, and all the stars gotta align. So there's a lot of things out there to think about. I guess that's pretty much all I wanted to mention. Mike Murray mentioned a lot of the things. We do work with a lot of communities. Murray and I both do a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of mentoring CAOs across the country. I just enjoy it. I'm retired now, so I'd be up to no good, no doubt, if I was out there too much. I work for Gemtech, but I just pick and choose the projects I'd like to be involved with. And this is when if you guys have decided to do something, I'd like to be involved with you guys. So anyway, so I'll end it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. That's it for us, and it's time for a big thank you for having us here, and we're hoping for an open house sometime in November. We'll definitely let you know, and I would love to have you at our office as well. So if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer.
So I will just say where Councillor Bringlow is new, Jihad actually did our asset management
Oh, okay.
thing. So,
2018, yeah.
Okay.
yeah. I wish I could say I've looked at it every day, but
Oh, no, not handy.
nope.
You gotta know what you got, how long it's gonna last.
So when you speak of asset management, you're speaking of buildings and all things. We just picked up some buildings, fire stations, and specifically the one I'm curious about is the building in Island View. It'd be Station 3. What's the long-term plan for that? Because it's not in that great a shape.
Yeah, it's something that we'll have to
Yeah.
discuss, and we'll be probably getting into a lot of our strategic plans and asset management plans going forward. So we'll wait until the
Yeah.
election finishes on the 23rd.
Yeah.
So
See, you guys mentioned water studies, like do you guys do studies to see what the water supply is like in the community? So, you know, whether we have lots of water, whether we don't have enough water to, you know, grow into the future, that type of thing?
Yeah, we do both for groundwater sources, so like the city of Fredericton would have groundwater wells,
Yeah.
you know, so we can kind of, you know, predict and study the yield of wells and how many wells you need and where to put them, you know, to get the most reliable and cleanest source of water. We also do surface water assessment, so we're in the process of doing redoing the surface water assessment for the Cape Breton Regional Municipality, where they have a number of lakes that they use as supply sources. So with climate change, with changes in precipitation amounts and evaporation, etc., you know, the summers are hotter and longer and drier. What's the risk of either running out of water altogether, where there's not enough water in your lake to meet your demand, or the temperature of the lake gets so high now you get blue-green algae blooms, etc., with you know, toxic bacteria in there, and the water is now not suitable to drink anymore. So we can quantify both of those. Right?
Okay, good to know. Good. Any other questions?
Oh, I can't think of anything right offhand.
We're letting you guys get off easy.
Great.
Yeah.
I guess my biggest question would be around roads, like doing road, we've already done a road feasibility study for the original part of Hamilton, we did it several years ago. And so that would be the kind of thing that you guys would probably find very easy, I would think, to do the whole.
Yeah, we can do the feasibility study. When you say feasibility study, as to, you know, where should we put roads, so we can do that planning, etc. We can do the design. You know, the other thing would be based on your traffic counts and the amount of truck traffic, etc. The design standards, so the thickness of your asphalt and the thickness of your sub-bases, that would vary, and we can customize that to minimize your overall cost. Right?
It's kind of not where I'm going.
So this is kind of part of asset management also?
Yes.
So we look at the condition of the roads,
Condition of the roads and what the cost would be if we were
to replenish and replace the
Yes,
culverts.
right now, we do not have control over our roads, unfortunately.
It's done by the province, I take it? Yeah. So that's what we did for Grand Bay Westfield. We take a look at what would it cost for the town to do the winter maintenance on the roads. They own the roads already there. In your case, it would also mean, if you're taking over the ownership, recapitalization, replacing all the culverts and the surface and maybe the base sometimes, depending on how they're built and when. So we can look at all that as a package.
Right, that'd be great.
So I'm guessing that you would not build a road with stumps in it.
Why not?
Depends how often you want to resurface
You
it.
know? Yeah,
Good answer.
yeah, the wood just keeps popping up through the roads in the subdivision.
I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's not to say it's not done. It's done more often than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
I'll think of something as soon as you.
Yeah.
I think mine is more based around stormwater management, because our last big storm, we had significant areas that were affected. And I know one in particular, it happened, I think it was 10 years ago. And at the time, they were told, oh, look, it's a 100-year storm, it'll never happen again, don't worry about it. You've got it handled, it's all good. Well, 10 years later, that's happened again.
Yeah.
And so that's my concern.
And that again is part of asset management when it comes to replacement of existing assets. We're not replacing like for like anymore. So a culvert that was 12 inches now would be 24 inches. And if we have a washout in certain areas, and again back to climate change mitigation and adaptation, you would have more ditches in places, manage the wetlands, so on and so forth. Am I saying anything?
Yeah, you know, makes your culverts bigger is the knee-jerk go-to reaction, but you may just be transferring the water downhill quicker and moving the problem from uphill to downhill location.
And that's exactly, I believe, what had happened. They put a bigger culvert at the top, and so, yeah. So there's that.
So one of the things that we tend to do with those kind of things is going to say, okay, you have a culvert that needs to be replaced. We can come up with a size for that, but we'll take a look upstream and downstream and kind of say, okay, sometimes it's better to slow it down a little bit and provide some attenuation or some storage to make sure you don't blow out all the downstream culverts. And, you know, with the great advances in computer modeling technology now, we can analyze that 16 different places on day and basically make sure that you don't step on your own tail trying to do something good.
Your worship, if I could just add to that, you know, when I became city engineer in Fredericton, you may think that our biggest issues were potable water and wastewater, but our biggest issues were actually stormwater, because we had a tough time then. If we get a 50 millimeter storm, we'll say, that really caused us a concern. And as a result of doing the various things that Hans and Gia talked about, look, we felt very comfortable taking on a 100 millimeter storm and know that we would probably not have any significant issues. So yeah, that was one of our, it wasn't some of the issues you may think, it was stormwater.
That's what I'm noticing more and more.
Well, Fredericton's on a hill,
Yeah,
and water runs downhill.
yeah.
Yeah, Councilor Fox.
So I'm just looking at this, I guess, broader, and I was interested when you talked about climate change risk assessment, because I think, you know, the flooding is probably part of that. We are seeing bigger storms, we're also seeing drier weather, we're seeing forest fires, we're a community of trees. I mean, that's where we live. Our subdivisions have been bored right out of the forest, right? So, so I guess I'm just curious if you could give us a little bit more information about what a climate change risk assessment would look like.
Sure. Basically, we take a look at a municipality and take a look at increases in temperature. What does that do? You know, so you basically got periods now. We've had some last summer where it just really uncomfortably hot for a week and change at a time, right? So, you know, listen, how likely is that to happen? How bad is it likely to get? And then what options do you have as a municipality that's going to say, okay, we will provide cooling centers. How many do we need? Can we repurpose existing facilities to do that? Or should we be looking at other options? That'd be one example. The other one, and the biggest threat to municipalities would be the changes in precipitation, right? Where we get the big bad storms, we get them more frequently, okay? With the computer models that we have now, we can analyze, they're gonna say, okay, when do you start to rip at the seams? Where is that gonna be? What options could we put in place to kind of make sure that that doesn't happen? So if you do have low-lying areas containing wetlands or areas to slow the water down and store it, so that tends to be the most cost-effective way of dealing with that, right? If you got water courses running through your municipalities, do we upgrade the bridges and the culverts? Do we provide diking to kind of contain some of that, etc.? So those are some of the other options we could look at. High winds, you know, what is the building code that your buildings were built to? If we exceed the wind speeds, you know, we're going to lose roofs, so we're going to suck the windows out of it. What can we do to upgrade those things? When you need to replace your windows, do we go to a higher standard or do we stick with the existing one? There's cost implications on that, right? So basically, you know, those are the things you look at. You know, hotter, wetter, windier, forest fires. You know, basically, you just start to do these little scenario analysis. If this happened, what would the consequences be? And if those consequences are catastrophic or not acceptable, what can we do to mitigate that or dial that back, right? So,
Thank you.
And the thing to add to that is that the federal government in particular has had some pretty good programs to help with disaster mitigation and adaptation. So, you know, these things, again, are not unique to Hanwell or New Brunswick. They're happening all over Canada. And so there are some pretty sizable federal programs to help municipalities deal with this stuff.
We also help with the EMO plans as well, emergency measures. If you want to put one together to mitigate some risks and help folks in cases of emergency.
We just actually pretty well wrapped ours up. We're just in the final stages of it, so it's certainly something we could pass along to you to see if there's, if you think that there's anything else that we could
Another good idea.
add to it, because many eyes make it
Good time.
better. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Do you have a bylaw,
Yes, we do.
an EMO bylaw and an EMO plan?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay, well, I want to thank you folks from Gemtech for coming tonight, and very interesting presentation, and a very knowledgeable group that you have with you, obviously. So hopefully, I know we're looking forward to your open house. I've been by the building several times, and the exterior looks wonderful,
Yeah, it
so
looks really nice.
can't wait to see the inside.
The other day.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks everyone for your time, and please stop in anytime you're driving by before then.
Are you guys at UMNB again this year?
We will be in the conference, yes.
Oh, good.
We
See you then.
typically there every year.
Yeah. I knew we'd seen you in the past there, so yeah, we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wonderful. I actually forgot to lock the door, so I'll walk these guys out and I will lock the door.
All right. So we'll move into the next session that Terry has planned for us, I believe. It'll be the swearing in ceremonies for Chris, I believe.
No,
Your next-
we've already done the swearing in.
Oh, okay.
So,
So we haven't seen that.
no, so earlier I swore in Councillor Bringlow, and then at our council meeting next week, it will just be on the agenda so that we can do the actual motion. But because he was acclaimed, he was able to become a councillor immediately, so.
Where's our key?
We'll celebrate when we do everybody's all together, and we'll do the photo op and everything at the same time and do our ceremony and stuff, so.
So we'll just move into the management session then.
Yes, so our very first thing is our Director of Recreation and Parks, which is Taylor, and I will let you go ahead, Taylor, and then I will tell you about Dan's report. He's not here tonight. So, go ahead, Taylor.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll get started. So what I try to do with the report is really outline kind of all the existing projects that are on the go. The highlighted bits are really going to be kind of the updates pertinent, I guess, to this month. Certainly, if you have any questions on anything, just let me know. One thing that completely slipped my mind when I was putting this together was our Home Alone program that's coming up next week. So October 19th, so we will be having one. Sherry Vidal is hosting it again, and it is technically fully registered. I'm just waiting on about 3 or 4 outstanding registration fees. So before I get into it, I just wanted to mention that quickly. When it comes to our bike park in Brookdale, so I spoke with Ryan over the phone on September 29th. He's actually in PEI right now, kind of in and out of the woods, doing another project over there. So it's my understanding we approved kind of the sourcing of materials. So he's aware of that, and he's looking into that. I actually think he's supposed to be done on the island. It's my understanding right around this time, so I'll be shooting him an email just to connect with him at the end of this week and get a further update, and he should be able to kind of get going on that. We are at the top of his list for spring projects, so as soon as everything dries up, he'll be here and he'll put that bike park together. In terms of the Canadian Mental Health Association of New Brunswick, so I had met with Curtis Lozon at the beginning of August just to chat about some of his different programs and events, or presentations, sorry. So I told him we'd definitely be interested to host maybe a mindfulness presentation in our community. So unfortunately it didn't quite take maybe the way Curtis envisioned. So we hosted it on September 27th, just unfortunately we didn't have anybody show. So he does have a program that could be a good fit for kind of teens in our community, so I may be directing him to talk with Pierre, but certainly I can kind of see if there's a fit here for that.
With the principal.
With the principal, yes, sorry. Just quickly on the Christmas craft show, so we'll be hosting that on November 25th. Right now, Megan's kind of handling all those registrations, so she let me know there's 3 tables left. Once those kind of get taken or sold, for lack of a better term, she mentioned she can open up the boardrooms as well, so it's looking like it's going to be another pretty popular event for the community. Similar to last month, I'm still having a hard time getting a hold of the RDC and getting some information back on our snowmobile, the grant application for that, so I'm going to keep plugging away at that and hopefully I can get something in.
I heard through the grapevine that they're not able to do anything right now until possibly the election is
Okay.
called for or whatever, so I don't know if that might be a
I
reason.
guess, yes, plan, so. I'll quickly touch on Spook Fest. So I got a group of 4 really committed volunteers, and I think they should be really proud of the work and planning that they put in. They're a really motivated group, and I'm kind of really happy, I guess, with the progress we're making. It should definitely be interesting, October 21st. Just to kind of give everyone a general rundown of what to expect. So the group opted to go with some more indoor games, Halloween themed of course, from 5 to 7 p.m. We've opted to get Halloween themed cotton candy through Sully's Athletics from 5:30 to 7:30. We'll have Jennifer Hoole, the Hanwell Witch. I will just, again, kind of triple check with her. I know Dave and Tim, you guys have both graciously checked with her for me, and I really appreciate that. So I'll check with her on my end, but I know she's a regular, so we have her planned for 7 to 7:30 to kind of come do some readings. The group wanted to see another indoor dance situation take place from 7:30 to 9. The Upper Kinclear Fire Department, Chief Krause has indicated to me they will be there. I'm just working with him to kind of determine whether it's going to be the full 5 to 9 or if they need to get gone earlier sort of deal. And then for the Haunted Trail this year, obviously it's going to be a bit of a scaled down version as to what we saw last year. The group and I have decided to use the left-hand side of the trail on the accessibility trail portion and that turn into the right-hand side. We'll use the right-hand side, we'll put some LED lanterns or lights there to kind of have as an entrance and an exit from the HPA. I got approval from the principal there to use that as overflow parking, so it should help keep residents off the road and walking to and from the event. Hanwell Sports, so I'm still having people come in and collect photo packages, rather small updates. In terms of the loan program, so one thing I purchased, a disc golf target, so Jason Sullivan from Sully's Athletics mentioned to me there was one for a really good sale at Canadian Tire. So I got that in, and then just late last week I actually got the 2 sets of disc golf frisbees, for a lack of a technical term for them. So that's going to go live on our Hanwell Recreation and Sports Facebook page. It's going to operate very similar to what we do with our pickleball equipment. Come have people sign it out, things like that. It is something we could potentially look to move into HPA over the winter for those who might just want to get out and do a little bit of putting practice, it's called. In terms of the Hanwell Trail Run, so I have a few new developments with that, and maybe was hoping for a little bit of conversation surrounding this. I'll approach this rather cautiously, but in speaking with Jos, the trail run organizer, he hosts runs all throughout our community. I actually ran in his Mactaquac trail race a couple weeks ago, and he puts on really unbelievable events. One of the things he got park approval from Mactaquac after speaking with their manager was to put in a section of single track trail. And what this is, and to my understanding, is a really non-invasive way just to put in a little bit more section of trail. It really adds to the trail run atmosphere. Right now what we have would be classified as sort of your double track. It's not a very technical route. This just adds to the technicality of what he's trying to accomplish. With the Hanwell Hammering, he calls it, he's going to use this race as a UTMB index race, which is rather significant. So for those of you, and I'm assuming nobody's really tapped into the pro trail running circuit, the UTMB is sort of the Stanley Cup final of trail running. It's hosted in Chamonix, France. Hope I'm saying that right. And kind of the year-end race, similar to running the Boston Marathon, you have to qualify for that over the season, and he would really like to see, and what he's going to do is have our race and our trails as an index race towards qualification for the International Championships of Trail Running. So I thought that was a bit of a neat thing. What I'll do now is I'm going to pass around just a series of handouts on kind of some of the work he's done and drafted up. Just a quickly go back to the single track trail. Him and I went out this past Saturday, because I told him I'd explore it with him, and just kind of mapped out a route. And so what it is, he doesn't need to go in there, cut down any trees or anything like that. He looks for natural routes in the forest already. And to actually make the trail, all he does is just kind of rake the trail and blow the leaves away. So there's no, the only thing he would cut is if there's deadfall that's actually over the section of trail. So right now, but just quickly, just to pass around some information on this. There is a map, so everything in red would be his route. Everything in white would be our existing trail system, and I highlighted the parts that would go off the trail and in through the forest a little bit.
Just one for, just one for everybody to look at? Is that what
I know,
No,
I
it's
just
just-
kind of have it, but it's also some pictures of what the work he did in 2019 in Mactaquac to establish that single track trail. It kind of shows sort of the process that went in to build it.
So just to clarify a little further, on Friday, I have to send in the site plan for our park into Crown Lands. So I will be adding this trail on there to ask them for permission for us to do this as well.
But that's not a permanent trail, is it?
No, no, it's
So
more or less, and it should be fine, but I just want to make sure that it's,
Just
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
moving stuff around.
move stuff
Yeah,
around, I
yeah.
don't see why they would really.
Yeah.
I don't think that they will care, but I will definitely put it on there just so that they are aware.
And what Joe's does in the agreement he has with Mactaquac as the park manager there is a little, I would say, weary of having these, it's a bit off trail or an off-road trail. He makes Joe's just take down the first 50 meters of his flagging tape or whatever he uses to mark the trail, just so it kind of doesn't encourage people to go down there in case they might roll an ankle on it in sort of the off-season or something like that. So with approval, I could certainly ask him to do something similar here. Just it's there if you know it's there, but if it's not something that you would get sucked down in for anybody who shouldn't be down there or anything like that.
I think I personally would prefer, if he's gonna put flagging
Yep.
tape out there, to take it down after.
Take it down all right.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
I think that's what I would prefer.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't really care if he's gonna be bothering anybody really.
So I'll move on next to the MOU with the school. So I'm really hoping we're at kind of the final stages with this and something can kind of be finalized by the end of this week. As far as I understand, the district went through some staffing changes with their community engagement coordinators. So they got a group of about 2 or 3, I think it's 3 now, but I'll deal directly with 2 of them on a regular basis. And Terry and I had a chance to meet with them, and certainly there was some kind of clarification needed based off our first meeting with the outgoing community engagement coordinator and Pierre. So we're kind of working towards that. We got a draft sent to us late last week, and we put kind of all our additional comments or areas we need clarification on into them yesterday. So again, I'm hoping a response can be given as early as tomorrow, and we could have something very close to finalized by the end of this week. One important note to this, it doesn't appear that we're going to have, or I guess in-house we'll be able to manage sort of the booking access for the cafeteria, the performing arts room, the training room, and the theater. What the district has opted to do is more or less just give sort of, I guess, myself booking access to the gymnasium space, the field space, and the tennis courts to the right of the building. Those other rooms are still open to members of our community. They have to be booked through the district story. So there's going to kind of be some things that will need to be worked out there in terms of our staff and some clarification on what exactly they're going to be responsible for. But that's generally the update there.
Taylor, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So are the bookings for the other gonna be online, do you know?
Yeah, so you would go through the district and you would connect with that representative. So it operates a little bit different than what our specifications would be. Like for us, for example, we have to have a staff present at the door to make sure who's coming in is with that group, and like it's almost gonna be like a class list, like we gotta sign people in as they walk in. However, if you were to book, say, the performing arts room, it would be the janitor on staff would let that group in, and much like we do here with booking our space, they would give the keys, or whoever's sort of a supervisory title, and they would be responsible for the space from there, so.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So can you book the training room now?
No, so nothing can be booked now. And really, once we get this finalized, it's gonna be another probably 2 to 3 week process, getting myself trained, some staff hired, and working with the athletic director there, just to kind of establish some hours. Him and I have tentatively agreed to just regular 6:30 to 9:30 on weeknights, because he kind of indicated to me that's when the school is really done with their activities, is definitely no later than 6:30. So I envision it certainly being a work in progress, but I'm excited to kind of get that started, and get some groups and some clubs in there. Moving on to the outdoor purpose courts, so I do know there are some issues with the basketball nets heights. So as many of you might have noticed, we do have one of the nets down right now, and I'm working with Dan closely to try to figure out a way to get those lowered a little bit. So right now, I'm currently trying to source a company who might be able to put on a plate just to help kind of lower the nets for the time being, but that is definitely being looked into.
So the nets are too high?
The nets are about, one net is 4 inches too high, the other net's 5 inches too high.
Who put the nets in?
Fundy fencing.
Funny fence.
They can't come and fix the job and do it right?
It's
There's the lines that were painted, and with the court space, it's a bit off. So when they put them in, it required a bit of juggling to kind of get them within the right specifications. So I worked probably for a good hour or 2 with the group. I got them high school, so our court is painted to high school lines. Gave them the diagram. Backboard has to be 4 inches out from that line. Sat there with them, looked at me, they said they got it. I walked out the next day, that backboard is even with the white line. Things like that. Where they have them right now, you can tell they're very much at the ends of the courts. They emphasized to me sort of measure twice, drill once. I trusted their judgment on that. Maybe a fault of my own, but it was my understanding I gave them, and worked with them for multiple hours on the right measurements. I was in contact with Basketball New Brunswick, so it's certainly really disappointing for myself to see some inconsistencies with the heights. So I'm working to get that resolved for everybody as soon as I can.
So you're talking a plate on
on the
to
back.
go onto the back, and it's
So
gonna
that it would
drop
lower.
it down.
Drop it down a little
Yeah.
bit lower.
Well, that should be relatively easy, but
Yeah.
they have the expertise to do that stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of thinking that it didn't get into the cement far enough.
Because that's where your problem is coming with these posts here. That is in the post, that's not the ground at all,
Yeah.
that is something on there, the install.
Yeah. Yeah, future projects, we really need to have a design, like an engineered design or something, and not something drawn on a piece of paper kind of thing. Like we really need, if we're gonna do a project, we really need to
And what I
have
typically
something.
find, I guess, with companies like Fundy Fence, Fulton Asphalt, they do provide recreation services, but what's important to remember is they're not experts in the technical aspects like your Canada Basketballs would be, who have technical experts in there to say, no, these are how the lines are supposed to look. On our court, for example, the 3-point line, it's not painted on correctly when that was done. So there are measurements that are off, which made it challenging to line up the backboard to the correct space. Again, I trusted their judgment and the measurements I gave them to put that in. So And it's just, I think that kind of what happens maybe, because again, these people are just there to paint lines.
And I think the plate, I don't see the plate being a big issue, having that done, and then it can just have the holes lowered, so I think it should be.
I guess I'm just concerned because it seems like every project we do, whoever we get to do the project doesn't do it right. Like, every time we seem to have, you know, first it wasn't level, and then it was, you know, then we needed to do this, and we think we've got a project and we've got it done, and then it's not done right. And I'm not laying any blame on the staff whatsoever. But I kind of wonder what's going on in there. You can't, if you say that you can install basketball nets, you should know what those specifications are, or you're not qualified to install basketball nets in my mind. So I don't know. So those things just drive me crazy. And
Retaining wall turned out nice.
what's that?
So the retaining wall turned out nice, so too.
Yeah, it's got a nice retaining wall,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's right.
But
But
possibly we
anyway,
should.
I'm just kind of venting, I guess, but at the same time, I feel like, I don't feel that it's on our end, I don't feel that it's on staff's end. I feel like it's on the end of the folks who are doing the work.
Shoddy workmanship is what it
Because-
is.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because if you say that that's something you can do, you should be able to do it.
Just
But,
exactly.
you know, we hire you to do that. Like,
Well, I think in the
I-
future
I-
we'll.
I don't think you should have to hold their hand
Yeah.
to make sure that they're installing them correctly, so I lay zero blame on you. I think, you know, you provided them with what you need, what the specs are. It's a basketball net. Like, they can Google it and put it up, get it the right height.
And to
Shouldn't be that
frank,
complicated.
it's not the first time they've done it.
No,
Yeah,
exactly,
That's right.
exactly, so.
But I think in the future we'll
Just
do
frustrating.
maybe do a holdback and don't get paid until it's finalized and checks out. So, you know, if they don't have it right, they don't get their last installment or whatever until they do it right.
We definitely need some quality assurance, quality control happening on the project.
Yeah, yeah. Because we take these guys at their word that they can do the job and they're paid, and come to find out it's not correct. No, whose fault is that?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely, and I think moving forward too, like with the Canada Games, one of my responsibilities was to be the technical coordinator with the NSOs, so I have a big appreciation for kind of making sure each step is done according to technical specifications, so I have a lot of confidence moving forward that we won't run into this issue again, and it's frustrating me out there too, to be honest, so hoping to get a resolution soon. Last point for me is just Remembrance Day. So I've had a lot of really solid progress with everything, basing a lot of what we did out the program last year. From my understanding, it was a huge success. Generally, everyone I reach out to is quick to respond and happy to be there. So the program's about probably 90% complete. One thing I meant to get sent out as an email earlier this week, but a few things popped up. So there's about 1 or 2 readings left that are available, and if there's anybody here who wanted to do a section of readings, certainly just let me know. I think last year, just according to the program itself, last year I noticed David and Susan, I think, had one, so and perhaps this is a conversation to wait till after the election when we have a full fleet of councillors. I can kind of pose that to the group then, but yeah, everyone's been really quick to kind of reconfirm, and it's just kind of at this point now just seeing who's going to be there. Both the military and RCMP are going to get back to me by the end of this week with kind of who can attend from their organizations and things like that. But if anybody wants kind of a detailed program update right now, I can get that sent around as well.
And we will
I
take
appreciate that.
any help at all the day of, and especially after the event, because we have a huge function on Sunday that we are going to have to tear down the reception and set up for the event on Sunday. So we'll take as many people as we can get that can help.
I won't be able to.
No, you won't be able to.
Medical reasons.
Yeah.
I'll still be on crutches probably.
So Taylor, you're more than welcome to stay the rest of the evening, but
But you don't have to.
You don't have to, don't read
you don't
I
have
got
to.
some cake waiting at home, so,
Today is Taylor's birthday, so
Oh, happy birthday!
Good for us.
We could have had cake if we had known.
I'll take care of everybody.
He's all 19, right, Taylor?
No, I'm on the back half of 25 now. 26.
Oh, God, no.
I heard it's all downhill from here, so anyway, take care everybody.
See
See
you
you, Taylor,
tomorrow.
thanks, man.
So Dan, our buildings manager, he was not able to attend tonight, but he just wanted me to let you know that he got the left-hand side of the trail completed today for the blazing. We've run out of paint, so we've got to get
You
paint.
did the whole thing?
The whole thing today, or whatever, so,
Did he actually? Never mind.
so, we'll be able to hopefully have this done, because I've got to have this into, the province on Friday, so. And we've got to take pictures of the blazing, so hopefully
Well,
maybe
you're good
tomorrow.
enough to take pictures of. You get the corner post. I can't do it till Monday.
Oh, well, hopefully he might be able to do it tomorrow and Friday,
If he does, that's good.
or whatever,
I'll do
so.
it Monday.
Anyway, I'll update you if we need you. All right, so we will start in on the management part of it. The rest of the meeting should go fairly quickly. There wasn't a whole lot of updates. So, Councillor Bringlow, do you have this copy?
I don't think so.
You do? Okay. So anything, it's kind of like Taylor's report. For this meeting, we don't actually do minutes. This is kind of like a living document where I just provide council with kind of anything that is going on in our clerk's office and stuff. So the very first one is the Hamill Place siding issues. So the manufacturer came and got our extra siding, so they are doing the testing procedures. I just have concerns that it's going to be too cold for them to be able to repaint this, so it might end up being something in the spring possibly, but I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I was speaking with them the other day because he was supposed to come and pick this up, and I wasn't aware that he did, but he said I was on the phone or something when he came, and Dan had given him the wood, so he's doing the testing, so.
We're looking at repainting again rather than taking it off?
No, so they're gonna sand and blast it, or whatever they're gonna do, whatever the procedure is, and then whatever the new stuff is, they're putting on or taking off, or I'm not really sure what the whole process is, but I just don't know if it's gonna end up being too late.
I'd like to know before they do it.
Oh, we will. You're gonna see, he's going to do a presentation with council, so you'll be able to see what it is.
He's fast running out of time.
That's what I'm kind of worried. I'm wondering if maybe it's going to be a spring thing. So I'll just update you once
As time moves on. Yeah,
as I
okay.
know more. Hopefully maybe even by the council meeting next week I might have more information for you.
Is that a warranty job or is that?
No. There were a few complications with that, and when we go over everything on Monday, I can give you all the back history on it for you. So the next is our recreation building, our little church out here. At the council meeting, you guys approved for Brian Merchant Limited to do some repairs to the church. We have called them, we have emailed them, we have left messages. I'm not sure exactly if, I'm really hoping nothing has happened. Anyway, but we're not getting any correspondence back from him, so we'll continue trying to reach him. But once again, I'm scared that we're getting into colder weather and we might not be able to paint, so.
Yeah, 'cause I was thinking about that on the way in today. I wondered if he was gonna start soon.
Yeah.
Terry,
Yes.
quick question. Did we get another quote?
No.
He was the only one that was quoted on,
Yeah,
correct?
we had another company that came and we didn't have anything from them, so the clerk contacted them and they said that they didn't want to put in a quote.
So if he doesn't get back to us,
Um,
what is that?
I think we're gonna have to get out our paintbrush and our hammer. No, I'm not really, we'll have to,
It's not like him
Rescind
not
the
to
it-
like
motion
that.
and put it out for.
yeah, we'll have to
Okay.
do something else.
Yeah, start back to square one.
Yeah. And maybe what we'll possibly have to do is, like they used to in the olden days when they had like the barn raising, like maybe do like a volunteer call out for the spring and see if we can
Well, in the
get
spring, we should hopefully have our plans in place for the major renovation.
whatever. So yeah, I really don't know until, hopefully we'll be able to get a hold of them.
I
But
mean, this was supposed to be temporary, keep it secure over the winter thing.
yeah.
Work on our other plans over the winter.
So the next one is the transportation feasibility study. So council had asked for us to put out the comprehensive study to a tender, and we will do that. We had 8 tenders to get out in the last week, so we've worked on those ones, but we will get that one out. That one there, I'm gonna have to have help from the Regional Service Commission, because that's a little bit more technical kind of thing, so,
So,
Yep.
can I just, so to clarify, it's gonna be a comprehensive asset management and infrastructure condition assessment, is that what they're doing?
yes, so I believe what you guys wanted is to see what conditions the roads were, what conditions the culverts were, all of that, correct?
Right, I'm just going by the feasibility study.
Yeah.
That was their next step, was that we should be doing comprehensive asset management.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to make sure that that's all encompassing in what they're
Yes.
doing? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next one, the unsightly premises, so RC 11, as you know, for our former LSD areas of Kingsclear and Island View, they do not automatically fall under our unsightly premises bylaw that we currently have. So a new one has to be drafted. So the Regional Service Commission is actually doing that one for us right now. And I'm hoping that maybe by November, we can have it at our council meeting for first and second reading. And then December, then we can put it in for our third reading. What's the next one? So our highway signs. So we will apply for our signs, but under that new transition funding. However, I'd also like to apply for the strategic planning as well. I'm wondering if we have money in our capital reserves, and I think that probably what we should do is not apply for the signs under this funding, because we have to have permission from DTI first to install them. So I'm wondering if we should get all of that in place. We could just use our funds from our capital reserves and then apply for funding for our strategic plan and human resources and stuff like
I'm
that.
thinking it would depend on the financials, like, has Hanson Signs been contacted for a quote, because they were fairly expensive?
They were about 50,000, weren't they, I believe?
Yeah, it was about 20,000 apiece.
I thought
Yeah.
20,000
Years,
apiece.
well,
Yeah.
that was a few years
Yeah,
ago.
so,
But why would we, just because everybody who's gonna put up a sign has to have approval from DTI, why would we still not apply for the funding? I mean, and just apply for the permits and then apply for the funding and order the signs.
and not, we could do,
Because we've got to, we got to do an application for a permit for them anyway.
Yeah.
So may as well do
We might
that
as well
like
get the money.
right away.
Because I mean, that's what the money's for.
it is, but I was just thinking because these other things, we can't take out of our capital reserves.
So we should be able to apply for funding for them too. I mean, there's funding for all these things.
Okay, I can look into it. I was just kind of thinking that's,
But we can budget.
both of them, we could kind of do a sure thing.
But if we can't, like I
Well,
said,
In the
I think we
meantime-
should move on the signs.
Yeah,
But if we find out if there's funding available for a strategic plan, if it's not, we can budget for it for next year.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
not gonna do a strategic plan between now and
No.
December 31st. It's not gonna happen.
No, I don't imagine
So-
you'll probably do your signs between now and December 31st.
no, but,
Yeah, But we can get the tender out, you know, and get permission from DTI.
yeah. And
Whatever.
in the meantime, I mean, who knows how long it's gonna, I mean, I don't know how long this funding will last. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been kind of told since summer to get at it, and
We should go after that as soon as possible because it,
Okay, so you want to do the signs and not
we'll apply for
HR
both.
and strategic?
well,
We'll apply
try
for
to
both.
apply for both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yep.
So the sign on the 640 coming from Hanwell, will the funding help with fixing that sign?
I don't know, like we'll have to look into it to see.
Okay. I also noticed the vegetation around that sign has
It's-
really grown up.
it
really
has.
needs to be cut back.
Yeah, and the sign,
Coming
like, from Harvey
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one I was talking about.
That's, yeah. okay.
That's
The
the one that
vegetation's-
needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one that's
yeah.
fading.
Very
Yeah.
much so,
But
yeah.
the vegetation shouldn't be a problem. Something we can probably do in-house. Okay?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a matter of taking a drive out with the chainsaw. So,
True enough.
Big giant whippersnapper.
yeah.
So the vision planning, is that something that you guys wanted to do between now and December? The clerk
don't
had
think we have
previously
time.
given you a list, and we asked you about it last month, if you had looked at this list to see who you might want or whatever, and nothing was decided, so.
No, I think you were going to, I know I looked at it and there was a couple of them, but you were also gonna send around the person that.
From Hanwell
Yes.
that I knew.
Did we get that?
No.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
didn't, so there wasn't gonna be a decision until we had looked at that. But
Okay,
I don't
so-
foresee any way that we will have that between now and December.
Yeah, it's, well, spring run, October, spring review.
Well,
Yeah.
hand
We'll
it
be
to the
sleeping here.
45.
With the list you put around, where we're gonna be so busy for the next little while.
I think it would also be good to have the new council in place and let everybody kind of get
Gel.
Settled,
in
I do too.
before we do that.
Yeah, I think it's
Because
a good idea.
it's hard when speaking
From
for
experience.
myself and from experience, it's hard when you're first in, like you're overwhelmed with a lot of things going on, you're trying to learn, and that's probably not the best time to be also
Pushing
trying to do
a
a
vision.
visioning session,
Yeah.
so.
And even tonight at the presentation, they, said how important it is for everybody to be on the same page. So
Exactly.
it would be a really good idea.
That sounds wonderful to me. The audio equipment, tonight after our meeting, so this is our owl, this little gray thing here.
Doesn't look like an owl to me.
Well, actually, he does. When he lights up, he
Okay.
has eyes
Cool.
and
Yep.
stuff, so,
They've got 'em in- when you go to the sort of original service, it's the same one they have.
It's the same one.
There.
yeah. So, we did a demonstration, yesterday, and it was very nice for anybody that wants to call into our meetings and stuff. So either people can call in, or if you guys weren't able to attend, you call in, you actually see the entire room. As each one of us are speaking, it will show the last 3 people that have actually spoke, and it just literally goes around all the time. So you'll see like the 3, and then you'll have the panoramic at the top of the screen, so you can see the entire room and
So is
stuff.
it like a Zoom call sort of?
Yeah, so you can do it like Teams or Zoom or whatever, but the public can also, like if that's the way we want to go, or we can just, you can just record it and then we can just put it on our, YouTube or Facebook or whatever, just like we do now, so, but then people can actually see something
I think that'd be
or
great.
whatever, so it can either be live or it can be recorded or whatever, so, we said that it's probably best to probably be recorded. And then, put up, there was a couple, I think there was a difference in the cost if we wanted to have it live compared to, I'll have to look into it. We made a few little notes or whatever, so I can hopefully show you that after our meeting. So the recreation agreement with the city of Fredericton. So this agreement, so Ludford subdivision was already in the plan. Wards 5 and 6 were wondering if they can get into the plan. So the actual agreement is between the province and the city of Fredericton, because at the time we were in LSD. So what I have learned is that the minister no longer has the authority to even do anything. So we met with the mayor, and the mayor and I met with the Kate Rogers, the mayor in Fredericton, and a few of the recreation people. So they have written a letter to us saying that they are in favor of us joining for wards 5 and 6. They have also written a letter to the minister saying that they're giving us authority to come on to that agreement, and I will be writing the letter to go to the minister and to City of Fredericton saying that we want to come in. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be an issue at all. What we are thinking, because a lot of people that are, most of it is for ice rentals and stuff, so a lot of people have already booked, say for like January, right? Because they would have to book for like October, because it usually goes, what, November to February.
October, yeah. But
So
they're
we're
already-
trying to figure out if we will just give them their money back for those few months, like we'll do a pro rate or something. We're working into the logistics right now. We've just got to get our name onto that agreement, and then City of Fredericton said that they are more than willing to work with us to try and figure out a solution of how we can readjust the
We're
people.
just trying to avoid people having
Without the lengthy waiting
double
period.
pay, right?
Right.
Because they'll be paying in their taxes, but they'll also be paying from October to February, which goes into the taxation year. So they really would only have to pay from October to December 31st, then their taxes would cover from January to the end of February.
Yeah.
So try to get them a refund on the January, February, rather than pay twice, is what
Yeah.
they'd end up doing for that short a time anyway.
And the problem is the original agreement states that the opt-in clause would have a year, so
A
they
year,
couldn't.
it's 2025.
Yes,
Right.
So that might
exactly.
not be the case.
So that will not be the case.
Okay,
So
well,
the-
that'd be
Yeah.
better.
That's what we're trying to get
So
around.
according
is,
to you, the minister doesn't have to sign off on any of it.
No, but
why bother writing them?
well, just to kind of have that in,
Should be formal,
yes,
definitely.
or whatever. So that will be finished before we go into budget mode in a few weeks, because we are going to need those figures
Numbers, yeah.
and stuff.
Okay.
So next thing, the Rick Hansen certification. So Hannah Wood, that was our inspector, I haven't been able to reach out to her. I did a quick search on the Rick Hansen website. They had listed a bunch of their inspectors. I had clicked on New Brunswick, most of these people seem to all be like in Ontario and stuff, and I don't know if they maybe do like Zoom calls or something into New Brunswick. There really didn't seem to be anybody that was just like a New Brunswick, Nova Scotia company. So I think I'm going to put in a call to the company and just ask them like if Hannah is even working as an inspector or something, or maybe she has left her company and joined another one or something, but I can't find her
It's been years since we started, just.
or whatever, so.
Can we just put it on the agenda for infrastructure and parks and keep it there until we figure out what's happening?
Yeah, or just leave it here. But yes, we'll get something done. So, the tenders. So, garbage, recycling, upgrades to the Upper Kingsclear Fire Department parking lot, upgrades for their kitchen renovation, our storage building, the transportation study I haven't been able to do yet, the epoxy floors for the Fire Station 1, the snow removal for here, the snow removal for Hanwell Fire Station, snow removal for Upper Kingsclear Station 1 in the Community Hall, and Station 3 in Island View, and the contract with the Boy Scouts of New Brunswick. They were all done. I did them all on Monday on my holiday, so we got them finished. So they've been sent off to Regional Service Commission just for them to tweak them, make sure that I've got everything before we put them on the ONB. So I have most of them to close on the 23rd, I believe it is. If they're not able to get them to me by tomorrow, I might have to extend that until the 25th or something like that for their closing date. And the one for our storage building, we have a closing date, I believe, of November 8th, but I asked the Regional Service Commission that might not be long enough for them to be able to design and do a tender for a storage building. So that one might have to be a little bit longer, but I kind of like to, I want those figures, right, for budget, and our budget has to be in on November 15th. So it's
November win for budget?
November 15th this year.
Well, we may just have
I
to.
don't understand why it's so, yeah, it's very tight for the budget. Well, especially with the elections, because if there's a tight election on October 23rd, if anybody wants to do a recount, I can't swear the councillors in for 10 days after that, and I really want the new councillors to be part of the budget process. So I'm trying to, I will do as much in the background as I can, and then I will bring everything forward to you. And that's why in that list that I gave you, there's so many meetings one after another. It's because I have tried to wait until we can have our new councillors attend, because they definitely need to have a say in our budget moving forward. So so I gave you an update on the pool.
Oh, Terry?
Yes?
Just before you move on?
Yeah.
You mentioned, are we going to put this on the October council meeting to extend the Brewster Marine contract for an additional 1 month?
Oh, sorry, yes. So last year when we were doing, getting all of the figures from the province of the services they were bringing forward, the garbage and recycling, they had to leave the contract with the province or whatever. So they told me that they were good until January, and then we could take them over. Well, to me, January would have been January 1st for new budgets. However, it's January 31st. So I'm going to bring it forward to council. Our contract with our current one for Hanwell is December 31st, because I thought we could just start a brand new contract for our entire area. So if we're gonna do that, instead of having two, I would rather just us extend our current contractor for 1 month. And
Makes
then
sense.
we'll do out the tender starting February 1st until, and I think, once again, I'll just do it for the 11 months.
Yeah.
And
Get
then,
everybody together.
Like another year.
yeah, so 2025, we're starting back at
January.
January to December, like,
As long as BMI is in agreement, we're all right.
yes, yeah, so
Perfect.
not,
I'll
Gail,
bring
is
that
anybody
forward
with a
online. I'll check with BMI first to see if they are willing to do that. And
I'm
then,
sure they will, but best check with them first, you never know.
yeah,
So, just a question on the garbage collection, does that apply to the whole area of Hanwell? Or is that to?
yes, so
Okay,
current,
so that's gonna change, it's currently
Yeah.
2 providers, so,
correct, so,
services?
yes.
Okay, so,
And same with the recycling. Faro does both the recycling for
Yes.
us and
Yes.
for Island View and Kingsclear.
but.
But
the
recycling is also changing.
Yeah, I understand that.
This year, starting in May, a new company is taking over that service through the province, so our contract will only be until May. I've actually got a meeting with them again tomorrow, so I might know a little bit more about this circular materials, because any of us CAOs that have been talking were thinking that it's Greek kind of thing. Like, there really needs to be a lot more communication with us. I don't quite know how this is going to work. I definitely think that during our budget for our garbage collection and tipping fees and stuff like that, we're going to have to budget more, because I don't think that people are probably going to recycle as much as what they were before, unfortunately.
You know, they have a system that's working, but they're gonna mess with it.
I think so. So I think just to be safe, that we should maybe budget a little bit more, thinking that there are going to be some changes. But like I said, I will know more, and I will give you another report in our council meeting after the meeting tomorrow. So the information that I provided to you about the pool. So we did the presentation. Currently, a couple of years ago, we did a motion to do a design phase and costing for a 25-meter pool, because the UMNB pool is closing. So everybody was, this is going to be a regional pool. It all moved forward with the 25-meter. At the last council meeting, we had a presentation from a group of people. It wasn't just like the fast swimming, it was really a group of everybody. They presented a presentation for the 50-meter pool. We were all very impressed with that presentation
I did listen to the whole thing.
and stuff. So I wrote to the Capital Regional Service Commission the next day, and I said how we were very impressed with the 50-meter pool. So we actually had a meeting shortly after that. This same group did the presentation to all the CAOs and stakeholders. If they went with a 50-meter pool, we have 2 of the municipalities that are backing out immediately. So if municipalities back out, that means it's no longer regional. So then there would be no pool. So I asked about the costing, and I said, is it possible, I said, that we could have the cost of the 25-meter compared to the 50-meter kind of thing. The feasibility study to do this was 2.7 million, I believe it was. If we ask them to do a 50-meter one to get the design and the cost, then they said it would probably have to go out to tender again, so we've lost $2.7 million, not we as in Hanwell, but we as in a region. So they said if the same company happened to get it, they may do it for $1 million kind of thing. So then it's like, okay, then we've all got to come together and find another $1 million.
What's the
to do.
reasoning behind not wanting the 50 meters?
They said that there really isn't, they can't see a difference of what these guys are asking for compared to what they are giving them.
Pretty clear now.
Pretty clear, 25 meter pool.
So, and a lot of it, because they had talked, you know, like how we couldn't do all these events and stuff. They were like, so then they said, they put it back to this group and they asked them, they're like, so how many events do you think that this pool could get? And they were like, maybe one a year. Because
One
they,
year is huge.
They would have, I would beg to differ on that, depending on what facilities. I mean, my concern was that the new design that they were looking at for the 25 meter wasn't even going to include anymore a dive tank or the platform, so they weren't going to have a dive team. And sitting back on that steering committee, that was the one thing we stressed was so important, that if UNB Pool is closing, at the minimum, you need to replace what exists at the current UNB Pool. So if they're now saying they're even taking that off the table,
so in my,
that's concerning.
and my comments was like, if we are kind of doing the bare minimum, so this is what Fredericton was using, and now this is now going to become a regional pool. Like, to me, it should be that much more, right?
Exactly.
Well,
Kind of
it
thing.
should be equal or better.
But
I would go with better.
a lot of the municipalities, they don't even want to pay into it. Because they were saying, like, you take Minto Chipman, they're not going to drive for an hour at 6 a.m. for their kids to swim, right?
Right.
That's a lot. You're not going to get people from Arcadia and Gagetown to as much as you would.
But what is the reasoning behind, for example, when they wanted the arena complexes, very quickly, the municipalities, they were voted and people had to pay. The village of New Maryland was 4 cents per 100. We were 3 cents per 100. So why aren't they doing anything like that then when it comes to the pool? So we can get a 50-meter pool. It is the capital city. I mean, you look at every group that's in there would run a provincial, at least a provincial. Synchronized swimming would run provincials. Diving ran provincials. We ran the provincials for diving when we were there. We had places from all over. We even invited Halifax up to dive. So then you would get your Fredericton Aquanaut swim team. They would be there running their provincials. They would, so there, it's not just going to be one event per year. I would really beg to differ on that. Or Mukdo is not part of the arena complexes. They never did sign on to it. So I don't know. I think there's workarounds, but I don't think we're looking at the big picture.
But the only thing, we don't want to be, if we go ahead and say, yes, like we want the 50 meter, and then everybody else pulls out, you don't really want to be, oh, well, it's because we wanted it. And
What does Fredericton say?
Fredericton does not want a 50 meter.
Really? Oh, they want 2.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought that up.
Yeah.
Because I said that I said to the CAO in my email to the city of Fredericton, I said I had heard, I said like everything that goes on the north side seems to have to go on the south side.
Yeah.
So I said I had heard that in the future recreation plan that they wanted a 25 on the other side. I was told that was not correct. The deputy mayor,
Erickson?
Greg Erickson, or whatever, he was actually at that meeting, and that's the very first thing that he said.
That they want to.
When,
Well, why would you not do your regional pool?
So would they be coming back to us and asking for more money for a second pool?
probably, and this is what this other group, that did the presentation, they had concerns. That's what they said, you know, like, if we're going to do this, and then in 5 years' time, say that we need to have another pool, why didn't we just do it
Right.
all at once?
Yeah, and that's my argument too, and this is a hill I'd be prepared to die on. And I think I would be very happy, personally, speaking for myself, I would not vote in favor now of continuing with a 25-meter pool,
Yeah.
because we need a 50-meter pool, and there's a fundamental flaw in this province in terms of regional government. So we have the RSCs, and they're supposed to be a form of regional government, right? Elected officials make up the board of the RSC, and yet we can never seem to be able to do anything at a regional level. It always comes down to individual municipalities having to make a vote on this stuff. And so, I mean, for whoever's listening out there, we do have a fundamental flaw in terms of regional government here. And it's holding us up and preventing us from being able to make these kinds of decisions with elected regional councillors on a regional government so that we can get these things done. Because the reality is, I am not prepared to support a 25-meter pool that doesn't allow, I mean, think of the economic development possibilities of a 50-meter pool. I think we have to get outside of this small thinking mindset that says that, you know, will my kids use the pool? Will I drive X number of miles to use the pool? X, Y, Z. The reality is, as a region, there's economic development opportunities for all of us when people come and they come to our region and they use our facilities. And I mean, we might get people using our facility here, right, as we do with other things that, you know, they rent space here and so on and so forth, right? They go to the hotel that's within our jurisdiction, X, Y, Z. So I'm ranting again, but this is a hill I'm prepared to die on, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we continue to do this little, we need one on this side of the river and one on that side of the river stuff. We should be building one big complex to get this stuff done, and that's what should have been done with those hockey rinks too.
I agree with
So, a lady that was there, I don't believe she was with the FAST program, but she had to do something with the swimming. And she was saying that she was told there was over 600 new students that started this year in our area or whatever. So my thing was, you know, if that was 600 this year, and they keep talking about all of the growth that is happening in our region, and you look at housing and everything else, like apartment buildings are being built and they're rented before they've got the foundation done on them, kind of thing. So I said, you know, like, are we keeping up with that? So to me, it was kind of crazy that we're even thinking the 25, but
The thing is, if we build a regional pool, a 50-meter regional pool, and the city of Fredericton wants a 25-meter pool on the north side, there's nothing holding them back from doing their own pool.
Right.
except for the fact that they will come and ask everybody else to chip in on that again.
Well, we've already
The other-
chipped in on the regional pool. I mean,
The other thing that I don't understand is I know for a fact that kids' swimming lessons they have wait lists, and it's absolutely impossible to try to get on them, because I know my daughters are trying to get their children in, and it's virtually impossible unless you know exactly when it's coming, and you just keep calling.
Yeah.
You know what, because online they're booking so fast, like, it's crazy. So I don't understand why they're not looking at capacity planning either, like.
Yeah, so they had said, this wait list, they said they've got 75 on the wait list, and then they must cap it off at the 75, and they have 45 on top of the 75 wait list.
Right.
You got a wait list for the
Already.
wait list?
They have a wait list on a wait list, or whatever, so,
Yeah, this seems, I agree with Tim, I'm not interested in.
yeah, they are moving forward with it, because that's what everybody had paid in to get the cost on the 25. Then if you guys decide, once it comes back, that that's not where you want to go, then that's something that a decision of council will be done. But we had paid there a couple of
Yes, I
years
understand.
ago, so that part of it is, this is what they're gonna move.
But we just paid for the feasibility study, we haven't paid for any building of it yet.
No, so the costing of it is part of that feasibility. It's the costing and design.
Yeah, the
is
design
part of the-
stage.
Yeah, it was the
That's what we
design
paid
study
in.
we
Yep.
paid for.
Not
Yeah.
just a feasibility study.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, I meant to say.
Yeah,
But I think what we're saying is the design that's come back just isn't, well, it's certainly not what I would think is adequate.
The design they asked
Yeah.
for was a 25-meter pool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't open to discussion at that time in the early stages of the planning to go for a 50-meter, so that seems to be where the boat was missed.
And it
Now you got
seems
millions of
there's more
dollars
info.
expended already on
Yeah.
a design stage of a 25-meter pool. So do people want to scrap that and then start all over again and design a 50-meter pool and spend another $3 million on design pays? I don't know.
And what is the difference, like last time with the arenas, to me it would have made more sense if they would have just built one big one. Because to be honest, we can't get any big venues in here.
There you go.
It's
So arenas are too small.
ridiculous. Yeah, so at that time, they wanted, it wasn't all municipalities
That was Fredericton
putting in,
alone.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, okay, we're going to get, taxed so that you're not gonna pay an extra 800 registration fee. So why is it now, why is that changed so that, why the shared services agreement that exists for the arena complexes, why isn't there a shared services agreement then for an aquatics facility, a regional aquatics facility? That would be a question.
right. And they were talking, they said, like when they did the feasibility study, they went to every one of these groups, and they were all like 25 meter. And then they're like, now that the feasibility study is done, now they want 50. So they're like, why?
I think at the time though, when they said the 25 meter, there wasn't any, it was like, no, we're not discussing a 50 meter, 25 meters what we're doing.
That's what they told us at the
At that meeting,
because
yes.
I remember asking that question.
Yes.
And I was told it just was not on the table, that
Yeah.
wasn't a choice we had. So I personally, as a brand new counselor, felt handcuffed into, well, do we have a pool or do we have no pool?
Right.
Right? But since then, other information has come to light, and I mean, personally, I mean, it may cost more money, we may have to put out more money for another study, and that sounds bad today, but where are we 40 years down the road? And that's what we have to think
Even
about.
5 years
It's
down
not
the
just, it's not just today, but this facility should last 50 years anyway.
I voiced very strongly that is how we wanted to go, kind of thing. And because Chris Ramsey was there as well, so if you remember, Chris was the one that came and did
the
our first
presentation here.
presentations and stuff. And I came right out and I said, we were not on board for this, like council really had apprehensions of it. And I said, we weren't kind of on board back then. And I said, and then after seeing this presentation and stuff, I said, then this is kind of how they want to go. But it was like, okay, well, you're gonna have these other municipalities that are going to back out, so maybe what we need to do is borrow for the municipal capital borrowing board and put in our own pool.
Well, it's funny, I've been thinking the same thing, really and truly, we should have, not at the scale that they've got, but really and truly, St. Stephen's got a, a really nice facility, they're no bigger than we are, they're a town, and,
Let it go.
Woodstock has a.
Woodstock has one, also a town. There's, no, really and truly, we've got to, no, when I was away, actually, no, mind you, this is Ontario we're talking, it's a much bigger municipality, but I went to an arena in Oakville, and I took pictures. And it is the kind of thing that I should, if I was thinking of a regional facility, this was just it was a 4-rink, like hockey, curling, it was an arena, it wasn't a pool. But I mean, they've got this huge piece of land, they're building a library, they're building even a cricket field, I'm not sure why. You know, and
It's popular there.
must be, but, it's a beautiful facility that's gonna last them for years. I mean, it's been well designed they have a bar in the middle where you can look at both sides. They have, when they have their events, you can, bring people in, and it was huge, the part in between, and then they have the smaller rinks for figure skating and for whatever, and the hockey rinks. They have an Olympic size ice surface, same as Grant Harvey, except it's 4, and it's all in one place.
Well, this is
So
what I said, planning for the future.
Yeah.
And that
That's right.
doesn't seem to fly in this area
No,
for
it does
whatever
not.
reason.
No. And even in a huge place like this, was in Oakville, it's in a cornfield, West Cornfield,
Yeah.
at the edge of town. I mean, it's not like you've got to put it over here so these guys can come,
Yes. And maybe this won't even fly.
I don't know.
Like maybe it will come back and the operational costs, because we don't know what the operational costs are going to be
Right.
yet. So maybe a lot of these other municipalities that are just starting out, because maybe they'll decide that, because a lot of these newer municipalities, some of them in our region, they don't even have an office kind of thing. So like they've got to get a lot of infrastructure, so maybe they'll decide that they don't want to go with a pool at all. So anyway, I'll keep, as we have our meetings, we'll keep coming back with some stuff, but I did lobby your requests to them. It's just they weren't quite on board with everybody else's, so.
Tell them over the 25-meter measure settlement, and then they can do whatever they want when they're.
Anyway, yes, so one other thing, Hamwell logos. So, I put it out to a few municipalities asking if people running in the elections are able to use our logo. Everybody was absolutely not. You cannot go and use Irving's logo on your letterhead kind of thing. So they said, like if you wanted a picture of our sign or something, or the building or something like that to identify that you are Hanwell, that you can do. But our logo is actually ours. So with that, I put out an email today to all of our candidates that were running, and there was a couple of tips I had given them, thanked them all for running and stuff. A couple of the councillors to be contacted me. They have already used our logo.
Really?
They have printed them off, and so now they're wondering if they can use them. I think, personally, in the past, we have told councillors previously that they weren't able to. I feel bad that... I'm really surprised that actually on the election forms, because they tell you that you have to say who the printer is, the name and the company and stuff. I'm really surprised that they actually don't have there that you can't use company municipal logos, so that people are aware of that.
I would never even thought of doing that, but anyway.
So are they is it their printed that they're putting out,
Yes.
not their,
So
not their,
their pages, some of their
their
pages.
not their
pamphlets?
signs.
No, but their pamphlets, like their personal
Yeah.
pamphlets or whatnot,
The little door knocker thing.
Door
So
knockers.
it's kind of,
have the Hanwell logo on them, have them printed already,
But not their signs.
not their signs. The election signs are more regulated, but these pamphlets, people put our logo on them. They spent substantial money
Yeah, I know.
putting this
But
out.
Yeah.
so it's kind of like I've had to, I just put that out this afternoon and I had to contact me and it's kind of a hard
I
situation.
think in this case where it's an honest mistake and another, another election will make sure that
People
I think
are
we're just-
aware.
people are
Where it's a
aware.
by-election and people have expended that money, unbeknownst to them that they weren't allowed to do it.
That's right, I mean, it's not a malicious thing, it's just,
I don't think there's anything.
I wouldn't,
It's a shame to, like I said,
Oh, I wouldn't
if we got
tell them.
$500,
There's no time.
$700 tied up, then they gotta reprint them,
yeah.
and they're gonna miss, there's
Yeah.
only a couple
No,
weeks
I
left.
think for this, I let it slide and,
What's the feeling of everybody?
Yeah, I agree, it's an honest mistake.
Yeah,
What if the other ones contact and say they want to use them?
well, no, if the election's on the 23rd, if anybody hasn't got their cards ordered by now, they probably aren't gonna get them in
And-
time for,
Nobody else can run now anyways.
yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, but you
The
can
other-
go and get just
More
a handout done,
Right.
easy peasy.
I wonder if we should just put something out to say that the election's happening, blah, 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 you may see the Hanwell logo used on something, this does not mean that the community endorses
Endorsing
this,
them.
this candidate.
yeah, it's a good idea,
Like,
because some
just
may
so
have the
that-
handle
just so there's
logo
no-
and some
Yeah.
don't.
Sure.
Yeah, right,
Well, you
just so
could-
that.
Yeah, we could do that
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah,
okay.
I
Yeah,
think that's a real good
But
idea.
in the future, we will make sure that,
It's funny,
People
it's
have
not in
said that, and
elections.
I know, and I think I will actually contact Elections New Brunswick and just say, you know, like, you
Sure.
might want to do this in the future, because I'm sure when I was talking to other municipalities, they said they had to nip that in the butt
Yeah.
before, because the same thing had happened
They wouldn't even-
to them, so it's something that we,
I blame the printers, the guys that are printing these things off, it's not their first rodeo, and they should know what they're allowed to print, what they're not allowed to print. But
Yeah, but you know what, a
Yeah.
printer will print whatever you give them to print, and that's their
And they,
No, but they have-
client
you
is the
email them a
person.
file and they just print it
Yeah.
out.
But they also help you,
Yeah,
they
because
will.
they're the experts.
Yeah.
They should know what they can and can't print. But I think with the, again, the horse is already over the barn and across the field, and these people
Yeah,
have made
I
honest
think
mistakes
there's nothing
and expended
to do.
money. Are we gonna say, sorry, you can't, not sorry, you just can't do that and go redo your money or whatever? I mean,
It's too late.
It's
in
too
the
late,
game.
yeah, it's
yeah,
too
like
late
the
to
game,
get that.
okay, so I will, I'll just email back all of our candidates tomorrow and just say that it's not really acceptable.
No.
However, we will authorize it this time for those that have already got them printed.
Yeah, right, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's a
Whatever,
good
if that's
idea
okay.
to put on our social media that people that are using the
We're not
Hanwell logo,
endorsing anybody.
it's not an endorsement by
Yeah,
Hanwell.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because somebody might see that, look, this guy's got a Hanwell logo and this guy don't.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
true.
vote for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're
Yeah,
being supportive.
that's my concern. My concern is whether it sways, because municipal
It's valid.
elections, if it sways 20 voters, that could be the difference in somebody being
And
elected.
it's a valid point.
Yeah, and actually it's
That
funny,
concerns me.
by coincidence, I've been doing a lot of research into our union, the union I'm involved with at work, and into our election process. And it is one of the things that actually is in our bylaws, and you cannot use the union logo on any of your things. They've thought to put it in, but.
Yeah, because we have a branding guideline.
Yeah. But
And
yeah,
stuff.
they wouldn't think of that in the terms of.
No, and, but yeah, and it does state that it's
Yeah.
like hours
We-
or whatever, so.
Mhm.
Okay, I will just email all of our
And another time
candidates
we'll
again
send out a
tomorrow.
list of do's and don'ts, and
Yeah,
that's one of the don'ts.
okay.
But that, make sure that disclaimer gets out there
Yes,
right
I'll,
away on all our social media posts, because we don't want, down the road, they're gonna say, well, look, this guy's, obviously endorsed by Hanwell, he won, I lost, because wasn't endorsed by Hanwell.
yeah,
That
yeah.
could be a real kettle of fish.
I'll draft that up tonight and I'll give it to Megan tomorrow so she can get it out. Just one more thing and then we can be
I
done.
like Columbo. Just one more thing.
So, didn't have anything to do actually with Gemtech being here, but engineers, that is one thing that we are allowed to sole source. So if we wanted to choose a firm and just use that firm all the time for any engineering things that we want to do, that is something that can be done, just so that you know it doesn't have to go to tender. We can actually just do it. Like, I know when I worked over in New Maryland, we've had the same one for probably 20 years kind of thing, and those engineers know kind of everything that happens there because that's where the file is. So just something to kind of keep in mind. It might be something that we want to look into in in January or something. So
they work do they work similarly to the lawyers? Like, we have a lawyer.
Yeah.
And we pay a certain fee, whatever we use them on. Is that how this would work, or just we sort of?
you can do both. So
Okay.
either
Have them on retainer.
you can have them on a retainer type of
I
thing,
just
or
wondered if
you
budget
can,
for something like
yep,
that.
or you can just do it as whatever your project is, but just use one individual. No, so just use one individual engineer or company or whatever. So that's something that we can talk about. So
Good to know.
anybody else have any questions?
Can we add the snowmobile to the agenda for next week, maybe?
Sure can.
Regardless of RDC, we should be looking at replacing it. We're already gonna be halfway through October, and if we are seriously gonna do something with it, we're gonna have to order something ASAP or get looking, because we could get nailed starting Halloween.
Don't even say it.
Who knows? We should be safe until January, but you
Yeah.
never know.
But, just availability.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we should have done it maybe a couple months ago, but started.
Sure.
Yeah. Winter kind of sneaks up on us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I have a quick question
Sure.
or two. I was just, the accessibility trail damage that was done, and we discussed at last month's meeting to have a company come in and fix the drainage issues. Did we do that?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so it probably won't be done.
Well, the whole thing's been put off until next year because it
Is everything?
just ran
Oh,
out of
okay.
time.
Okay. And the other one was, I had a gentleman ask about the flashing lights on the school signs. Is there any update on that?
Update on it?
Like, we
You mean
don't have
the speed
flash.
signs?
Yeah, we don't, yeah, but no, the actual school signs?
Oh, you were, yeah, on the, yeah, they were talking about putting flashing lights in that, but we never heard back from DTI on that, as far as I know.
The amber ones there, like you see in the city.
Yeah, exactly.
It does need it.
Yes, I
No two ways
know,
around it.
but we talked about it, but I think it was back in June or something maybe.
What was brought up at that meeting we had with DTI that time?
Right.
Yeah, and something
And-
never followed up on.
No,
Never got
and
back to
a
us.
gentleman had brought it to my attention, he said, are you thinking of it?
So
And
I
I
think
thought,
it's-
oh,
Yep,
I will ask and find out.
yep, jog DTI, because I don't know the new minister at all, so,
Okay.
so it's a whole new ballgame probably.
Yeah, well,
But
I mean,
the-
they're needed,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's a safety feature, so,
Definitely,
It's another reminder.
yes.
yeah,
Okay.
I think it's just a letter to jog the mind,
Yeah.
but kind of say they agreed to it,
Exactly,
yeah, so.
Okay, so you guys had a meeting with DTI and discussed this?
Yes.
That must have been when I was
yeah,
off.
Yeah.
yeah, well, Sherry will know all about it
Okay.
too when she comes back.
Okay. I will find out. I wasn't
Yeah,
aware of
they're
that.
not very receptive these days. I haven't heard back about the private roads either, and I emailed them again a week or so ago.
But they have redone Greenway Avenue.
So I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, I've seen the construction signs were up there for the last
Okay.
couple of weeks. Yeah, so
Awesome.
finally.
That's it for me.
That's it? All right, 9:05, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.